Okay, so first off, I'm just gonna say quick disclaimer. I'm recording this I literally paused the middle of my review that you're gonna be hearing after this to go put this at the start of the video. This is more of a ramble than something scripted, because I'm gonna say it in the actual review. This isn't scripted. I didn't sit down and write this. I'm fresh out the theater about an hour ago, and I'm just yapping. I'm freeballing this, so there's lots of pauses. There's lots of jumping around. This isn't going to be a chronological order thing. Literally just getting sidetracked, rambling on about different stuff. So, just letting you know it's that kind of review. So, hey, gonna keep this one a bit short. Just don't really feel like going through a whole bunch of stuff. I'm just gonna start with saying this finale was a blast. The theater experience was amazing. My theater was amazing. A room full of Tadc fans actually being respectful and quiet during the movie. Shocker. So, I'm gonna start with saying we got so many answers, but also some that felt kind of shortened. I thought they would just be longer sequences in general. So, yeah. Sorry for pausing a lot and just stuttering in general, but I have no script, by the way. I'm spitballing here. I literally just got back and I'm just pacing around while talking into this thing. I'm fully just winging what I'm saying, fresh out the theater, so. So first off, we got Ribbit flashbacks. We're just gonna start with that. And it was just heartbreaking to see Ribbit and Jax's sort of falling out, although it was mostly Jax's fault, sadly. Yep, he gave a whole speech about his backstory, which was also unexpected. There were so many theories. Jax ran over someone. Jax ran over someone. Jax was an orphan and he aged out of the system. I saw that one. I thought that one was really good, but his actual backstory was also 10 out of 10, but the theories are wrong. Turns out Jax had an abusive dad. Big shocker. And he left, apparently one day, never came back, and Jax was with just his mom. And even though his mom was nice, she just switched up on him after his dad was gone. She would just be constantly more vocally, emotionally abusive rather than physical. And this cultivated in him just going off on his mom. And then she laughs at him, goes off on him, and then had the audacity to hug him after. And Jax even says that in the episode. He said that was the worst thing about it. She had the audacity to just hug him after. So he pushes her off all his might. She falls backwards, doesn't get up. And Jax's big regret, this is part of the trailer, by the way, V. Have you ever done something that you regret that part? Yeah, Jax never found out if he killed his mom or not, because he just ran. Yeah, he just ran out, left, and presumably, well, not right after. I was going to say he got stuck in the circus after, but he confirmed, yeah, he was homeless for a little bit, which I assume he was living in his car, which is why the car is so relevant in the flashbacks. So, he was homeless for a bit, and then wound up in the digital circus some point after and never found out if his mom just got knocked out or if she was dead. And that's one of his biggest regrets. That was just harsh. Oh yeah, and I just got sidetracked because I always do that. Ribbit's backstory, because this is why they were sharing in the first place. Ribbit went first and then got Jax to open up a bit after a bit of talking. He obviously wasn't ready to just tell her all that out the gate. Ribbit's parents were devout Mormons. Yeah, Ribbit's a Mormon. Really good to know, really nice representation, really nice. It was a nice detail, I really liked it, just hearing that. But she wasn't, so she never had a good relationship with them, really, and I believe she said she cut ties with them. and then never spoke to them again and ended up in the digital circus, so she couldn't. And after sharing her backstory, that's what leads into Jack sharing his. And yeah. But the big thing in this episode, Jack subtracts. And not like a whole big dramatic scene either. He's out for the count before the 10-minute mark. Bro lasted 7 minutes. Abstracted. And the whole reason for this was because literally, and this was I get why he would tell them this was a horrible time to tell them. Like, that would obviously have broken them. Kinger reveals to everyone after Kane is gone that the whole Thalma theory is true. Thalma theory is true. Their brain scans, not real people. And that, yeah, that's the straw that breaks the camel's back for about everyone, especially Jack. That's what presumably leads him into relapsing after it seemed like he was maybe getting on better terms with everyone. Yeah, that just breaks him. He just wanders off after mocking everyone like in his usual, trying to put the mask back on weight, but I guess he couldn't even do it. So, yeah. But like I said, that was a horrible time to tell everyone, because they just got confirmation that they're going to be spending the rest of eternity in an empty world, so yeah. But, oh my god, I forgot what I was going to say. Winking this, just freeballing it was a bad idea. I literally forgot what I was about to say. Let's go to the intro. The intro of the episode was, because the finale, there's going to be lots of references to early episodes, first episodes. It started the same as the pilot, except with Pomni. The intro, and Pomni instead of Cosmo, what we've been waiting for since episode 1. Everyone's just depressed now, instead of the usual. And when they cut to the day after day after day after day, yeah, it loops like in the pilot, but it goes on for way longer, and then the screen just grays out black and white while it just glitches out. And that was so unnerving in a theater, but I loved it. Yeah, that was just amazing. There was so much cool stuff in this finale. Part of that cool stuff is the sequence of Pomni opening the door, which may or may not be the thumbnail. I made 3 different thumbnails. I'm going to see if I can make them cycle through it. If not, then you either know what I'm talking about or you don't, because I'll just pick one, and it may or may not be the one with the door, but you know what I'm talking about? That is Pomni inside of Jax's mind. Yeah, that's how it happens. After Jax abstracts, they go through some stuff, try to figure out how to contain him. Because Kane's gone, there's no cellar, so try to figure out a way to contain him. And Pomni, while chasing him down the hallway, or more so the other way around, hugs him, and that just projects her into his mind. I guess you can just do that with abstracted people. That was a bit random, but you get the point. It led to good stuff. It led to good content. But we get to see Jax's mind, and oh my god, it was so good. The way they did it was so amazing, because we get to see basically a bunch of different versions of Jax's door, with his picture on it, but they're all really badly drawn, and each one is basically, I guess, Jax's representation of what he thinks would happen if each person abstracted. We get to see Ragatha's, which was the only serious one. Yeah, he's just staring blankly at her X'd out door. And Pomni tries to talk to him hey, I'm here. Please, come on, just accept my help, stuff like that. And then he just goes and starts strangling her to death with his terrifying blank-eyed stare. Which is the one that they used for the episode 8 thumbnail, which I did not think was actual part. I thought that was a custom picture. No, it's from there. Then he lets it go and it's what? What, you forgot we can't die from oxygen deprivation? Yeah, and then Pomni is obviously disturbed, so she just leaves that door. And we go through a bunch of others. We see what Jack think would happen if Zubul abstracted. And that's the part where Gangle has her Spudsy's mask. I assume she's just wearing it to, like as a part of to memorize her. But also to keep her from falling apart. Because, if Zubul abstracted, she would need some form of happy mask to not immediately abstract. And, hers is broken, Kane's dead, so, yeah, she has the Spudsy mask on. And Jackson is a maid outfit for some reason. And he says that that's what he's choosing to wear to the funeral. And Gangle's talking about, you're just doing that to mock her. And Jack says, aren't you doing the same? And she just, embarrassed. And there's, this really weird scene where Gangle falls to her knees and she's just like, I hate you. And Jack just doesn't care. And he literally goes, I know you like it, sweet cheeks, and literally makes her blush, and it was just weird. And then he literally gives her the key to his room. It's like, come to my room after the funeral. And it's just interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, so Pomni obviously just leaves that one alone. And then we go to another room, which apparently just, I guess, Jack's mind has a break room, and it's just a bunch of different variants of Jack's. Oh my god, I told you at the start of the video, I just get sidetracked to just skip around. We get to see what Jax would think would happen if Gangle abstracted, and it's Zubul being cartoonishly evil, trying to chase down Jax for killing Gangle or abstracting Gangle. But then he literally just turns into a Looney Tunes episode. And they literally he changes the background to a fucking cliff, and Zubul does the whole walking in place before falling in midair, the fake knee look down thing. And at first I was pretty confused, but the Zubul one, the Looney Tunes-esque one, made me realize what they were going for. How Jax perceives reality, and then Pomni just straight up says it. And yeah, this is a representation of how Jax just avoids feeling any sort of guilt by just picturing everything as a big, jokey, sitcom cartoon thing for people to laugh at that you aren't supposed to take seriously. And I really loved that scene after it clicking what they were going for. And then back to the scene I was about to talk about. Pomni ends up in some sort of Jack's break room. We have four different Jaxes, but one of them made Jax for some reason. And both the other two Jaxes that are free, sort of, they are all jokey, just joking around like normal. And one of them's just playing the piano, and they all seem to not like him at all. He tries to say everything, and they're just shut up, keep playing, and literally throw a bottle at him. And Pomni's where's the real Jax? And they're And then we literally see there's a door that is barricaded with wood planks and chains. A bang comes from it, and every single Jax in the room except for the piano one just goes, shut up! And just staring at the door. They hate whatever is in there. And yeah, these are just parts of Jax's personality, an inside out kind of thing. But then suddenly they just all start vaporizing one by one, and the last one is Piano Jax. And when Pomni walks up to him, she realizes that Jax is chained up. And he's the one who actually has the key to the barricaded Jax door. And he gives it to her before just vaporizing himself. And I assume that's the part of Jax that's he actually cares for everyone, the more sensitive side of him, because, yeah, the part that knows how to play the piano and actually takes pride in the fact that he can. And when we see the door that's barricaded, there's a very interesting detail I really liked. All the other doors Pomni went to were all poorly drawn versions of Jax's face on the door, but the barricaded one is the most accurate to his real door. Like, it's the most well drawn and actually has colors. The other ones were like just literally like quick sketches with like a marker or something. But it shows that one is the real Jax because it's the most well drawn, and I thought that was like a cool detail. And that's the door that leads us into the Ribbit backstory thing where they're falling out. We just get to see flashes of the real world, which is pretty cool, and get Jax's hand, real world Jax's hand, before we cut to him joining the circus for the first time. And it seems like the group there was just Ragasa, Ribbit, Kinger, and Cosmo. Sadly, we don't get to see any of the other off-screen abstracted people. Not like the CNA worker people, but like that one weird, sad clown-looking guy, not Cosmo. And also the squid, jellyfish-looking one in the background. We didn't get to see any of those. I guess like it would have been just a bit much to model some randos. So, but yeah, we just get the whole sequence of Jax and Ribbit being friends, Jax, Ribbit, and Cosmo. But Cosmo even says himself they were like the special kind of bond. Let me get them sharing the backstory. And the next day, Ribbit tries to talk to Jax about it. And like, sorry if it made you uncomfortable. And he was like, it was a prank, bro. You actually believe that shit? And then he literally says it was like from a Hallmark movie. And literally like just trying to make a joke out of it. And Ribbit's just like she's not seeing it as funny as he is. So she tries to get him like, what are you talking about? And Jax just keeps trying to deflect it. And then Jax just starts avoiding Ribbit altogether. Like literally Ribbit tries to walk up to them. Or walk up to him and Cosmo. And he just like, hey, I'm gonna go. And then we get the scene of Ribbit trying to invite Jax to hot cocoa. Like, hey, I'm gonna go to the cafe later. And Jax just like, why the fuck are you telling me? Okay, yeah. Yeah, that was just sad. And then we see the snow scenes, the ones that they were looking at in episode 7. The one that Jax was looking at in episode 7. The snow adventure. And that's where they had the big argument about everything. And Ribbit ends up just going, fine, I'll just leave you alone. And then we just see Jax just more avoiding Ribbit avoiding Jax, until eventually Ribbit's just cooped up in a room, doesn't come out, and they're like, hey, what's wrong with Ribbit? Anyone know? And Jax, we just see, like, they repeat it multiple times over, and it just hurt more each time because I knew it was gonna go. Jax walking up to Ribbit's door, about to knock on it to go check up on her, but then just pausing and changing his mind and walking away. And I was like, damn. And then we finally see Jax hiding behind a bit, like this block or something. I don't know, just hiding behind something while abstracted Ribbit's just walking in the background. And then we just see everyone trying to comfort Ribbit. Oh my god, trying to comfort Jax. But Jax, again, is just deflecting everything. Like, literally, Cosmo's like, hey, if you need someone to talk to, I'm here. Oh yeah, we get to see Cosmo talk, so that was cool. He is sadly not voiced by Jack Black. Damn. He couldn't make it. Digital Circus was too big a thing for him. He couldn't make it. So, yeah, Cosmo just goes, hey, if you need someone to talk to, I'm here. And Jack just goes, do I look like I need talking to? And then we get to see Ragasa trying to comfort Jax. And then we get to a scene, and then we because it's like a hard cut scene. Like, we'll see like snippets of stuff, and then it will just hard cut to the next part. Like, it's like that. Like, it's like barely memorizing, like just skipping through memories, stuff like that. And the transition is like just really glitchy static with the abstraction eyes. And it's pretty cool. But then we cut to Ragasa going like, I promise. And that's reference something earlier that I forgot to mention because, like I said, I just suck at doing things in order. Freeballing. We found out that Ragatha promised Jax back in the day after Ribbit abstracted to never say Ribbit's name again. And she promised. And she said she wished he didn't, and that makes sense, because her agreeing to not mention Ribbit again is just basically her encouraging Jax's deflecting stuff behavior. Like, okay, I won't mention her name. I won't make you confront your issues. You can keep avoiding them. I'll do that for you. Oh my gosh, sorry for the harsh cut. I just realized how long this video was getting. I didn't think I'd have this much to yap about. I was thinking like a 6-minute video. I didn't think I had this much to yap about, and we're not even halfway through, by the way, with episode 9. This is the first half. The first half is Jax. All Jax, and I left a bunch of stuff out too. Oh my god. You know what? Just like real quick, I'm just gonna go over the more quick things that I kind of skimmed over, because I can't just talk about it in order. We get to see the cast trying to rebuild the circus, like Kinger training them to use their imagination powers. And Pomni creates like a little triangle, while Kinger is able to make like a whole tile for the floor. And we just get like this whole fun scene with an original song, and not like Kane's song type of thing, that was peak. Like, I mean, like, I thought it was licensed. Like, it's like a little song they put for a montage. It was really cool. And we get to see them all, like, just like, I guess, like, essentially the best way to describe it is taking classes with Kinger to learn how to use their imagination powers and just help rebuild the circus, like patch up all the void holes. And we just see Jax looking sad, like watching from afar. And then Jax tried to go talk to Pomni, but he just like, forget it. And Pomni just lets him walk away, and that was like her biggest mistake, because we literally just hear her say, I wish I had pride harder. I sometimes forgot how bad it can get. And that's when we just hard cut to Jax abstracted. Like, that was a jump scare. So, yeah, there's that, and also Kinger and Pomni talk, where she goes about the I really wanted to help, something like that. And yeah, she's like just crying, confiding in Kinger, and Kinger's like, just like talking about how, you know, in all my years in the circus, I've never seen someone like you, someone who adjusted so quickly. Yeah, like that. And they just like have like a nice little chat. It was very sweet. And the last Kinger chat of the show. So, back on topic. Yeah, after the Ribbit backstory flashback scene, we see Pomni she's in like some void, essentially, after seeing, because she got brain blasted with Jax's whole backstory. She sees Jax standing by like the lamppost from the trailer. The Jax lamppost theory is real. Actually, I never listened to what people's theories were about the lamppost. I just knew that there are a bunch of theories about it being important that I thought were stupid, and then they were right, sort of, because it's there during the important scene for just cinematic lighting. It's just Jax in the void by a lamppost, and Jax is like, why are you here? You know everything now. Why do you still love me? You're not supposed to love me. This isn't how it's supposed to go, something like that. And Pomni's just like, dude, I'm not just going to leave you. That's a horrible Pomni impression. But yeah, she just like talking about like how she'll always be there for him, and Jax is just like trying to deny it. Like, you are not supposed to be loving me after knowing what I have done to people. You're supposed to hate me. Go hate me. And then we see this really horrifying scene of Jax standing in like a real life house, like a kitchen, and his hand is just static, and he's just staring at it blankly, sort of like in episode 6 after he shoved Pomni. And we just look and see his mom's silhouette on the floor, maybe dead, but you can't like actually see her. She's just like a static silhouette. And that was terrifying, especially because we just see cartoony, animated, normal Jax inside the real life, live-action environment. And then we get a hard cut to it after a bit more talking. Like, again, except the static silhouette laid out on the floor may be dead as Pomni. And that's also connected to the poster they revealed the day before the movie, of Pomni inside the water being dragged down by Ribbit and Cosmos. And it's like Jax is so scared that he's just going to ruin Pomni like he ruined his other two friends. And that, yeah, Pomni just hugged Jax, and Jax was like, I don't want to go. And that, yeah, they were really leaning hard into the abstractionist suicide thing this episode. Like, they made it so much more obvious, but like in a good way, not like the whole, why are they telling us everything and not just showing kind of way. But we just get this bright flash of light of Jax hugging Pomni, and then we cut back to like the real world, like outside of Jax's mind, and Zubul shows up with a rope made out of all their arms, like trying to go hold abstracted Jax, who is still being hugged by Pomni. She just like, you think we're gonna let him deal with you all on? You think we're just gonna let you deal with him all on your own? And they're just like all helping drag Jax like away from Pomni, and Pomni's like all glitchy like Rexa was in episode 1, but not to the same extent. But she's still like just glitching out, and they end up building Jax like a little fort, like a little camp sorta, where he can just kind of sit there in the dark and be calm, because you know they don't have the cellar anymore. And that was pretty sweet. I have seen some complaints about it, because, like, I'll admit, it's a bit weird in context of keeping Jax, what's essentially Jax's corpse, as, like, the family dog. But I don't know, I just didn't think about it like that, and I don't think you're supposed to. It's pretty sweet, yeah. So, yeah, but no, I just didn't think about it like that when I was watching the episode. I thought it was really sweet. Because they don't have anywhere else to put him. What, you just want them to lock him away in a dark room. They quite literally have nowhere else to put him, so the best they can do is just give him a nice place to just rest. So, but yeah, it's still shocking that Jax was just out for the count before the 10-minute mark. Like, dang. Road, yeah. Nah. Oh my god, I'm running out of things to say, and we're only halfway through the episode. So after that, we cut while everyone's sitting on the couch, because, you know, after they rebuilt the fort, we actually see that they did a very good job at rebuilding the circus. Like, they got some of the color back. It's still, like, a bit grayer, but some of the color's back. Like, they did, like, a really good job in however long they spent, because that's also the scene where we see all the stars spinning around the circus, like, to indicate a bunch of time passing. So, they did really good. And then we see Kane. Second half of the episode, here we go. Freaking Kane is watching them and just hiding. Like, bro, aren't you dead? How are you alive? I've yet to see what happened. After Kane was deleted, it turns out he's not just gone. Yeah, it turns out that they didn't manage to fully delete him, but it ejected him just into the middle of the void. They're not like in distance of the circus, just stranded essentially. And Bubble's dead. Like, Bubble no longer has a face, and it's just a normal Bubble, which was honestly a bit disturbing. Like, it was just like Uncanny Valley. It's like that one picture, the annoying orange, but like the original picture where he doesn't have a face and he's just an orange. Like, you know, there's supposed to be a face there, but then there isn't. It's just disturbing. Kind of like looking at a corpse, essentially. But we just see Kane talking about how, like, did I really mess up that bad? Is this really what I deserve? Like that. And then he just accepts that this is where he belongs. And he just curls up, and we just see him just floating in the void. Just drifting for we don't know how long. It was like a little montage thing of him just sitting there curled up in a ball. Oh my god. Curled up in a ball, just floating in the void before he sees a like little door thing. But the thing is, he's like reached the edge of something that he was like platformed on, like because he started running towards it, but then he realizes there's an edge that does not reach the door. So we see him use like his shapes, like the ones he was making in episode 8 as the red dot, and we actually get some cuts of that where we see Kane displayed as the red dot floating through a bunch of black with white code sort of ish, like cyberspace looking stuff, and then cutting back to the digital circus perspective of it actually being Kane's normal body, like just trying to get to the door. But he's like making his shapes to make a stairway up, and then we see him eventually reach the door. There was like a barrier, but he broke it with a little triangle cone shape, and we see it's a Wi-Fi connection. Yeah, at first I was worried because I thought they were gonna pull the void is the exit thing, and that would have been like, oh my god, I would have not liked that. So, but no, the door leads to a Wi-Fi connection to a cafe, and that essentially like leads Kane into the mainstream internet. Kane just has access to the mainstream internet and a bunch of more files, essentially the CNA files. And we see the files of all the abstracted people, but they're all labeled. But we get to see files of the normal people and the abstracted people. They're all labeled with names, and those are their real names. And we see Kane hold up one that says Mike Dobby, and then it like hard cuts to Scratch entering the circus for the first time. And yeah, Scratch's name is Mike Dobby, which explains the whole episode 4 scenario where Scratch's door was portrayed on a thing called Dobby Dogs for the Spudsy's restaurant. And they had to confirm on Twitter because everyone thought, oh, so I guess his name is Dobby. People like, and then they had to come out and say, oh, no, this character's name is Scratch. And we should have all clocked that immediately, that it was suspicious, because like, I guess they would want people to know the character's name, but like, why was it so relevant that we know this random dog's name is Scratch? Like, why is it so important that we don't get it mixed up with something else? And that was why, because he's so important. He's fucking co-creator of Digital Circus. So we see Kane eventually make his way back to the circus, like just all the way from the void. And we see him about to walk up to the circus, like the tent, and we see the moon again. The moon, which they must have brought her back, because I thought the moon would be dead, like Bubble, without Kane around. So either the moon somehow is not connected to Kane, or they went through the effort of bringing the moon back. But I think I know why, because we see Kane just talking to the moon, and she's like, I still love you. And Kane says, I never programmed you to say I love you. And the moon just smiles back at him. And that was so interesting. I mean, the moon was the first entity to love Kane, like genuinely, without him, like, without him, like, programming them to. So, that was very good. And that's also part of my dog was, I think, chewing something up. But I think the reason that the moon didn't get deleted with Kane was because the moon started to develop like a sort of more free will sort of from everything else, which led to the moon falling in love with Kane, like genuinely, and not being programmed to. And that's why the moon didn't get deleted with Kane. Or I guess because Kane wasn't really deleted, but he was in the void, so. And everything else disappeared, so. Yeah, we see Kane come back to the circus, He's like building up the courage to go face everyone again after what happened. And then he does. And he apologizes for how he acted and chooses to give everyone control of the circus. Like, you know, I'm going to leave all the worlds open. You guys can do whatever you want when you want. I'm going to make this a better place for you guys and everyone. And that was really nice. And we see Kane, like, actively hanging out with everyone. Everyone gets, the circus is, like, expanded into, like, just, like, a bunch of more different worlds to play in. Like, just mess around in. But, like, beforehand, no, not beforehand, this was after. I thought I was skipping a part, but this comes after what I'm just talking about. We see Kane, like, just hanging out with everyone while they all have newfound free will. And we see everyone go to, like, their own little spots. Ragsa gets to play actual softball, like, against Pomni. And she beats Pomni and rides off on the Gloink Queen, which is pretty cool. And we get to see Zubul have her own little bar space for everyone in the circus and makes a drink for Kane. And at first, Kane was, like, kind of sitting around. But he's like, for me? Zubul nods, and he's, like, so happy about that. And that just made me so happy. They've had so much beef in the show between each other. But seeing Kane so happy about Zubul showing some care for him and making a drink for him, that was just nice. I love that. And then after, we see that Kane prepared some sort of special presentation for everyone. And we see that he, through the Wi-Fi connection, accessed the mainstream internet. He managed to look up everyone's, because he also had the files that had their real names in it. So he managed to look them up online and find social media pages for them. So we get to see everyone's real names and what they've been doing in the real world. So first off, Pomni, Abigail Brooks. I saw an Abigail somewhere, and Gooseworks did mention that. She said, like, 1 or 2 people got both Ragasa and Pomni's name correct. And apparently I think she said someone mistook Gangle's name for Zubul's. Most people knew what Kinger's name was, and we were right. I'm just going to cut to it. It was Grant. The Grant theory was right. Grant Best. And Queenie's name is Destiny. Destiny Best. That was nice. And then Ragasa's name was Susie J. Ackerman. Yeah, I don't think I saw Susie, but I seen, like, some close, like Sarah. Gangle is Zoe Ragavan. Yeah, and I think I actually saw what Gooseworks was talking about. I think I saw a post where someone guessed Zubul's name is Zoe when it was actually Gangle's. So, and then Zubul's was Riley Vercellis. And yeah, I've never seen a Riley, so no one gets that. Then Jax's name is perfect. I don't want to hate on real life Jax, because he gets better. We get to see what they did with their life. But Jax's name is fucking Leroy. Bro's name is Leroy. That name is beautiful. Beautiful. Couldn't have been better. But we see Pomni, she's still an accountant, but she's opened up more, and she has some friends that she posts videos with. Like, she still posts videos on YouTube, but now she does it with friends. Ragasa cut ties with her mom and moved away. I believe, I'm, like, recalling this off memory, I believe she's, like, a horse racer or something now. We saw a picture of it. Kinger has 2 daughters with his wife, and they're just, like, living happily. Kinger had no self-improvement because he was already perfect. I'm just kidding. And then Gangle made a webcomic. She posts online. Her webcomic's popular online. And Zubi, oh my god, I was trying to say Zubul and then Riley at the same time. And then Zubul or Riley, they, like, obviously job hopped for a while, because we see that Zubul had multiple jobs, but she eventually settled down and opened up her own bar, which is really popular apparently. And Jax, Jax actually got better. He still, I don't think they ever said he choked up on his mom, which is still a bit messed up. But he's a mailman now. Like, he just delivers packages and stuff. Which, delivery driver Jax, peak. And he has some other friends. He has, like, some close friends. And apparently, this is so freaking ironic because of how much they hate each other. One of his favorite places to visit with his friends is Zubal's bar. They've had so much beef, and Zubal is the owner of Jax's favorite hangout spot in real life. That was just nice. Yeah, we get that nice little thing. Kane, like, starts calling them by their real names. And we just see everyone just enjoying their time in the circus. And then we get the final scene, and you knew it was the final because it was a reference to episode 1. Them all having dinner together and talking like at the end of episode 1 with the dun, 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 dun. Except it's a bit more happy because it's not sad no more. And Kane's there too. He's eating at the table with everyone. And we get the zoom out shot. And that's the end. And then we get these cool end credits of everyone just going on a bunch of different adventures. But the best part, we got the Zubal and Gangle boinking scene. Peak. We were all joking about it, and then it actually happened. Not on screen, obviously, but we see it. Gangle is obviously in Zubal's room. We see Zubal's room door just shaking with hearts coming out of it, while Ragus is just walking by awkwardly and then just covers her face, blushing, and just walks off. And Gangle's room door is also open to the side, so beautiful. Couldn't have been better. And the last part, which is related to something again that I skipped by because I suck at this. We see Kane take out the blue AI out of his system, like after he merged them, because he's like, and he at first lets him go into the void, like just to be himself or themselves. I don't freaking know. It's a fucking blue dot. And also the blue AI is still just a dot, because Kane never had a chance to make their own body like Kane did. So the blue dot's still just a blue dot. But at the end, I was just thinking about this. I assume it's like just like a replica to remember them by. Kane puts a blue orb on display in presumably his office. And that's the final part of the end credits. But I was gonna say I think he put the blue eye on display, but that would mean that he went back out into the void, kidnapped the blue eye again to put it on display in his office, which is beautiful. I think that's just like a replica to remember it by. But then after the end credits, incredible scene. We see all the real life humans, like, yes, the live action world. Everyone in real life, their full appearances, they all meet together at a bus stop. Not like they're all friends and stuff, because they don't really know each other like that in the real world. But they're all at the same bus stop, waiting for the same bus. The bus comes up, they all get up, bus leaves, that's the end. That scene was immaculate. It was something I was hoping we would get since, like, episode 1, something akin to that. But I didn't think we would, and I loved that. And there's also a bunch of exclusive merch. So yeah. Now this episode was amazing to me. I loved what they were going for. And I love being able to appreciate both sides of a situation and knowing what they mean with the narrative and loving them. Because I was both happy with either Jax abstracting or not abstracting, or Kane coming back or not coming back. I was 50-50 on both. And I was going to be satisfied either way, because especially with Jax, because it can serve as two things. Jax not abstracting also would have been fine. It would have been like a nice little redemption arc. And he still would have served his purpose as the antithesis to the narrative and, like, theme of the show. But like, we still get his happy ending. And then Jack's abstracting, which is what happens, turns him into a more cautionary tale. And it makes sense, because Jax, like I said, is the antithesis of the show. He's everything you're not supposed to be doing in this situation. And, like, yeah, him abstracting still leans into that. And so I'm still fine with him abstracting in the episode. Although I'll admit, I do wish it was more of a bigger scene. But I do wish it was a bigger scene, like we actually got to see it, because I was also hoping to see what abstraction looked like from an outside perspective. But the harsh cut was fine too, like that. I honestly really liked that too. And then the Soma theory being confirmed was also really good, because it leans more into the message of you have to find your own meaning in a stagnant life, because that's what they've been building up to. They keep making it a bit more obvious each time. I saw a post about this, and I'm just gonna say it word for word. At first, they had to make their own meaning when they had nothing. They obviously didn't have nothing, because they had Cain, they had the adventures, they had a world to live in. But those didn't really mean anything. So it was, again, trying to find meaning while having nothing. And then episode 7 came in. Cain, they find out Cain's been lying. He can control their minds, and now they have a bit less autonomy. But they can still find a way to live. They just said, we can just accept the situation and just live instead of freaking ourselves out and driving ourselves crazy over this. But no. We actually can't just live, because Cain went crazy, and now it's more of a survival thing. They say, well, maybe we can just live our lives. Nope, you can't just live your life. You're getting tortured. And then, finally, Cain died, and they quite literally had nothing, and they had to make their own meaning. They had to try to find ways to make their own meaning while having literally nothing. And the Soma theory was the final straw of that. Because now they don't even have, the comfort of, at least we're humans. No, you are... Not only do you have nothing, you are nothing. So now it was fully up to them to be something and make this world something. And because of that, I can kind of see why some people... This YouTuber I saw online, oh my god, I wish I could remember their name so I could shout them out. But just look up Tadc storyboards, fan storyboards. They're really good. It's a YouTuber. I literally forgot their name. I should have looked it up real quick. They said they wouldn't have liked them keeping their imagination power. Then I can see why. In terms of the theme, it's not really having nothing if you have the power to just make whatever you want, essentially be a god, reality warper. Well, not really, not to the full extent. And also with Cain coming back and them just having their own free space. But the lesson still stands, but I can see why some people would have preferred if it was more nailed in, more hammered in, with them quite literally having nothing. But honestly, I don't even think that would have been feasible. I don't think if they quite literally had nothing, they can't do anything with this world. They just have the gray circus for eternity. Even if they could find comfort in each other, which they do at the start before they have a way to fix stuff, that still wouldn't have been feasible for honestly that long. So I can see where people are coming from with any sort of complaints, but I personally still like it and think it was the good choice. So that's about all I have to yap about. 49 minutes to yap. I thought this was going to be 6 minutes. Oh my god. Well, thanks for listening to me ramble. Bye.